G'day guys, Sim here and welcome to another league racing video. So this is from round 1 of RaceSpec Esports PC Pacific, and it was quite an interesting race. This league unfortunately doesn't have multiple tiers on PC, so we have everyone thrown in together. Some of the top guys from tier 1 in AFR in here, and a few other people that I hadn't actually raced with before, apart from the evaluation races the week before. But yeah, coming into qualifying now, it was once again aiming for a soft to medium strategy. So we're just heading out on the softs, I believe, and just going to try and do our best lap possible. I didn't expect to get anywhere near the likes of Revo and Mikau, both of which are top of tier 1 in AFR. But I just wanted to, you know, make sure I was at least in the top 3, not too far behind them. So yeah, that was our plan for the entire race, is just see how close I could get to those top 2 and see how we did. But yeah, heading out of the pits and skipping ahead to the end of our first lap now, it was once again similar to AFR round 1, a very, very safe lap. I wasn't too impressed as our teammate from AFR, Hobbsy, sets the fastest lap. Not our teammate in this league, but yeah, sets the fastest lap so far. And we come through to set a 20.3, so even slower than my lap during AFR, my first lap there, which was a 20.2. Yeah, coming on to my next lap attempt, looking to gain as much time as possible. Turn 1, 5th gear, missing the apex slightly, but getting, you know, a decent exit. Running it down in 8th gear for this straight, braking late down into 2nd gear, short shifting up to 4th, holding 4th through turn 4, leading into turn 5, holding 7th gear through there, and coming in now to end this sector with a green sector 2/10 up already, and getting a lovely exit out of that corner, running into turn 9 now, braking late down into 3rd gear, and absolutely flooring it out of there in 4th gear. Getting a little bit of traffic now though, and unfortunately James here I don't think realised that I wanted to take that inside line, so we lost a little bit of time there, but still 4/10 up currently. Missing the apex at turn 11 there, losing a bit of time, but now running into 13, still coming up to more traffic, braking down to 4th gear and accelerating quickly out of there. 5th gear through turn 14, up to 6th, more traffic here for the final few corners, down to 2nd, short shifting to 3rd and 4th gear, 5th gear for the final corner, getting the power as early as possible, and just all the way to the finish line. I think getting up by, 3.5 tenths for a 19.9, but now onto our final attempt now, just trying to secure 3rd position on the grid here, and yeah, already, or slightly down after the start, but here, we just take way too much of the corner and lose it completely. And that's the end of that lap attempt. Thankfully, we still managed to get 3rd on the grid, which, you know, that was definitely the minimum that I wanted. But I was still trying to push myself as much as possible to try and get as fast a lap as possible and see how close I could get to Mikau and Revo. But now, coming on to the end of the formation lap, I think I was a little bit nervous here, because yeah, for whatever reason I thought my look back button wasn't working. In reality it was, it's just the weird bug that your brake pedal is to look back on the grid. But yeah, getting ready for the start now, just trying to calm it down. It's probably a little bit too chilled out, and you'll see, as we get ready for 5 red lights, it's an alright start. A little bit bogged down, nowhere near as good a start as Mikau and Revo, and Rudy, being the host of the lobby, got an insane start with the host glitch as we run wide here and just get tapped around by the Ferrari of Tal, just clipping his rear wheel and sending us almost all the way to the back of the grid, which is really, really unfortunate for us. Thankfully no damage though, but that's made this race a lot more difficult than it needed to be, as now we've got all this time to make up if we want to get a good result here. So now on the back of Lidsum and Hobbsy, Lidsum runs wide, Hobbsy squeezes us on the inside there, but thankfully we get past him on the next corner. Now behind the Haas of Pernell and John Zhang in the Alfa Romeo. So, yeah, really just looking to make up as many positions as possible to get closer to a good result. Really gaining on Purnell, who's currently on mediums, through this corner leading up to 11 and 12, getting a nice run through 11, setting us up well for 12. A good run as the safety car is deployed, and Poland Ball unfortunately has retired from the session. I think he ran wide on the exit 12, clipped the grass, and you know, it's the classic place to lose it there and hit the wall on the inside, unfortunately. So here now with the safety car where we are, I decided, okay, we can't just do a one-stop soft to medium here. We've got to switch it up a bit. So we're going in to jump on the medium tyres now, and we're going to do 2 sets of mediums to the end of this race so that we're on a similar strategy to anyone else. But yeah, we are going to be a little bit double stacked here from our teammate Jacob also pitting, but thankfully not as badly as some others. And we make up a few positions here, I think, as unfortunately Purnell is on intermediate tyres. So not very good for him, and we quickly made up that position as he ran wide at turn 1 on exit of the pit lane here. But yeah, getting on to the restart now. Behind Pro Player, our teammate Jacob Meister just in front of us as well. And just looking for a good exit out of the final corner. Pro Player runs a little bit wide, loses a bit of time there. Yeah, Pro Player was a bit wayward behind you there. And we're just thinking of getting a good run through this corner. Turn 1 onto the straight here leading into turn 3. We do get that run, and we've put Overtake and Rich on, but without DRS, we're just not quite close enough to get that move done now. So we're just going to be stuck behind for a little bit longer than I'd like. Still currently at this point outside of the points, which coming in I was not expecting. I didn't expect to get a win or second, but I was expecting to be battling up near the top of the front of the grid. But yeah, still chasing Pro Player now. Looking for maybe a way past after 11 and 12, as unfortunately PTR just completely misses his braking point and takes Pro Player out there and just continues on. So poor race etiquette there, I will admit. But skipping ahead now to the end of that lap, we've caught up to Aussie Suspect, the Red Bull in front. A little bit nervous, I think. I think this was his first league race. On the grass a little bit on the straight, which gives us a good run here. And we get an alright run through turns 1 and 2, setting us up for an overtake, possibly into turn 3 here. Overtake, rich mix, and down the inside, late braking, and in front nice and easily. A little bit of contact there as he turned in a little bit early while I was still there, but overall a nice clean move. And now we're ready to chase down our teammate in Jacob. And also back in the points, so looking a little bit better now. As the race continues. So skipping on to the next lap now, caught up to Jacob, and the Renault here of Moise just cuts us off entirely there, wasn't letting us through. So we use DRS and overtake again, considering a move into turn 1, but ultimately backing out of it. It's just a very risky move, especially with the DRS zone through the next straight leading into turn 3. So once again, overtake, rich mix, DRS, and we're in front before the braking zone. A relatively easy move. Didn't have to worry about it too much. And now just focusing on keeping the laps nice and consistent, chasing down Jacob. So skipping ahead now to lap 11. You can see we've caught up. We're now in DRS range of Jacob. Not quite able to get a good exit out of the final corner. So we're a little bit behind here. But getting a nice run through turns 1 and 2 there, and just trying to close in as much as possible, but not quite close enough. So the next lap, we get a little bit better run out of there. Still not happy with it, as you can hear, but just looking for any way past. I think, though, on this lap, we get a much better run out of 1 and 2, overtake, DRS, rich mix, and Jacob basically just lets us through, recognising that we're faster, and we're free to continue onwards. Now a 3-second gap to the current leading Mercedes, with everyone else pitting pretty much on that lap. skipping on to lap 13 now.
There he goes.
Revo has now overtaken Jacob. He's completed his stop. And basically, I'm thinking, yeah, don't want to fight this. I just want to keep my overall pace up as much as possible. So into this corner, I don't bother shifting up to 8th or anything, and we just let him through here. Nice and cleanly, save as much time. But on the exit of this corner, we get a massive tank slapper. Somehow managing to catch it, but unfortunately getting our third warning.
Bullshit, that was my third warning.
And yeah, I was not impressed with that at all.
Oh, that's so fucked.
And then Jacob behind also gets his.
Actually
so we're both on 3 seconds of penalties
Marks,
now.
It wasn't worth defending.
But yeah.
If you've seen our quick Revo.
Just skipping ahead now to lap 16, Mikau is now behind us, and we've decided, alright, it's time to get off these tyres, they're pretty much dead, and pit for some fresh ones. So locking up into the braking zone of the pit entry, and just trying to gain as much time on the Mercedes into the pit lane as possible. Getting a nice clean stop, hopefully. A little bit late on the reaction for the release, but we didn't lose much time, and getting out in front of the train of Rudy and Lotus, thankfully. Or it's just Rudy, it's not a train, sorry. And just taking a little bit of a warning just to make sure we stay in front there. Don't need to be getting caught up behind a Mercedes on hards when I'm on fresh mediums again, and just holding it slightly defensive into turn 3 just to ensure I keep that position. But now you can see the gap to the Mercedes is 3 seconds, and the gap to Tao, who I was hoping to battle at the start of this race, is 12.7 seconds. So we have a lot of ground to make up, but we are on fresher medium tyres now than Tao in front, and you'll hear, like, there's a potential for us to beat him on penalties if we keep it clean. Given the results of the evaluation races. So now it's just all about pushing lap after lap to try and bring back that gap as much as possible. So this lap, now the end of it, lap 18, we are 11.6 seconds behind, setting our fastest lap of the race. The next lap, now 11.0 seconds behind, so really closing in that gap, doing as much as we can. Now less than 11 seconds on the following lap. Just pushing constantly on these fresher medium tyres to catch up as much as possible.
He's just gotten DRS off this red.
Now, nearly a 10-second gap, so just the consistency, only half a second slower than our fastest lap on that one. 7/10 now on this lap. So the consistency has been really good over this set of laps, just trying to close in as much as possible. And now we've nearly got it below a 10-second gap, so knowing that in a 25% race Tao was getting upwards of 6 seconds in penalties, my mind was like really hoping that we might have the opportunity here. Coming on now, it's 2.5 seconds to the Mercedes in front and a 9.5 second gap to Tao, so now I'm thinking 3 laps to go, it's time to really start pushing. So we get a really nice exit through turns 1 and 2 there, putting it in standing because we're starting to get a little bit low on fuel, and trying to get a good exit out of turn 3, but we just lose traction, and we hit the wall there, checking for damage, and thankfully there was none, but that sort of screwed us a little bit for the rest of the race. Now coming on to the final lap, we're doing our best to bring that gap more, but that is another 3-second penalty. I believe that is now 9 seconds total. Jeff is no longer telling me penalties, but I know that the Mercedes in front had at least 15 seconds, so that wasn't going to be a concern. But that's potentially now completely ruined any chance of us getting a podium. And you'll see my frustration now. I'm just pushing hard without really caring if I get any more warnings. And I just... it didn't look like it at the start, but that spin at the start really affected my mentality for the race, and I think that frustration just got to me more and more the rest of the race as Revo crosses the line to win. Absolutely insane, his speed at the moment on this game.
I mean, he wouldn't have
but yeah, just the race in general, it could have been so much better. You'll hear me talking about Tal now. There's no hard feelings about the spin. It was a racing incident more than anything else, but in that mindset afterwards, like, sort of just basically threw away an opportunity for a podium through getting too many penalties and just pushing too hard and forgetting about the race in general and just going for
Must have the same amount of points.
gaining as much time as possible without caring about penalties. But yeah, we look at the results now. You'll see the gap is 10 seconds. We both had 9 seconds of penalties. So if I'd kept it clean, there was potential for me to have maybe made up the position if he'd made a few more mistakes, knowing I had no penalties and was under pressure from that, trying to open up a gap. But in the end, it just didn't go my way. Like, you know, sometimes you just put your car in the wrong position and there's not a lot you can do about it, and that sort of ruins it for the rest of the race. But anyway, overall, it wasn't a terrible experience. You know, I still managed to recover to 4th position when I was down at the back of the pack at the end of lap 1. Jacob also got 6th, so we're looking good potentially for 2nd in the constructors. I think Revo and Mikkel probably have 1st locked down in the AlphaTauris. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed. If you want, please do consider liking, subscribing, chucking notifications on. And if you want to catch me live, go follow me on Twitch. I stream this on a Tuesday night and AFR on a Sunday night, as well as multiple other streams throughout the week. So if you want to, feel free to follow and come say hi.